Hello everyone, my name is Zoie Denton, sports editor of the UTC Echo, and I'm here with two special guests joining us on campus today, NASCAR Cup Series driver Austin Chindre and Region President Josh Harris. Welcome guys.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Having us.
Welcome to Chattanooga, welcome to campus. Did y'all have a great trip coming down here?
Yeah, we did. It was a quick flight over from Charlotte this morning.
Yes, well, we're just going to start off with a little one-on-one interviews with each of y'all. So first off, I'm going to start with you here, Josh. So the Jacklings 500 is coming up in a couple of weeks. What is this energy like for your side with it coming up?
Yeah, you know, you start about a month or so out of a big race week like the Jacklings 500 at Talladega, and the energy starts to build. You know, there's a lot of buzz around the track, a lot of buzz around the facility. We've got a lot of our marketing, promotions running, selling tickets. So usually as we get closer and closer to the race, that energy continues to build. We're paying attention to what's going on in the series, in the sport, leading into Talladega, creating those storylines. And then it's really getting ready to welcome fans to the racetrack. We open up our campgrounds outside the track on Monday morning of race week. And then we open up our infield on Wednesday, and from there, it's every day there's something to do, whether it's on the track or off the track.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and how early, whenever it does come to, you talked about that you start opening campgrounds on Monday, but how early does it start to get preparation going for events like these?
You know, the preparation really is year-round. You know, we host two major NASCAR Cup Series weekends at Talladega every year, one in the spring, one in the fall. And in between those races, we always are looking for ways to improve the fan experience, improve the track. So really, it's an ongoing process, but the major work really starts to get in about 6 to 8 weeks out. We're going around, we're checking everything, we're painting the walls, we're painting new logos on the grass. Our sponsors like Jack Links will be featured prominently. And then it's doing all the fine details, cleaning up all the facilities, cleaning our suites, getting ready to host guests from all over the world and all throughout the country.
Do you have like a bunch of volunteers coming in? Do you get all hands on deck when it comes to these?
Yeah, you know, we've got a pretty sizable staff, you know, year-round, you know, not too big, that works at the track year-round. And then whether it's volunteers or seasonal staff, it really ramps up as we get closer and closer to race week. And then by the time the weekend comes around, we'll have hundreds of staff, whether they're doing guest services functions, hosting in our suites, hosting in our hospitality areas. You've got a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to safety, fire and EMS workers. So it's a really big staff that balloons to a big staff on a race weekend.
Mm-hmm. And going over to Austin here, you were coming back from a win from last year. What is your mindset? What's it like coming back again to try and get that win again?
Well, the only thing better than winning once is winning twice, so we got to go do that. No, that's kind of the mentality every week. I mean, we race 38 weeks out of the year and trying to win them all, but the win at Talladega last year in the Jacklings 500 was really cool, really satisfying for our team. Those are types of tracks that, you know, our Ford Mustangs are really adapt to and working well as a team. And just the win itself was a total team effort from the strategy of the race to how it played out at the end to a photo finish. So we had a lot of fun that night, and yeah, good motivation to go do it all again.
So what is your mindset going to be coming in close to that race day?
Well, I think when you go to Talladega, you know, any super speedway style track, you know, it all is a build up through the race, you know, about how your car is driving, what the mentality of the field might be, how things are changing. You know, we're changing some stage lengths around to maybe change some of the strategy as well. So, you know, what is my role? You know, there's a ton of communication at a track like Talladega from me to my spotter. So, I think the most fun thing about being a NASCAR fan as well as a competitor in NASCAR is that although we primarily race on ovals, you know, our different challenges week to week vary. You know, from coming to Bristol, we'll go to Kansas and, you know, we go 190 miles an hour into turn one, but you know, you're worried about handling and track conditions. But then you go to Talladega and you're worried about the draft and, you know, where to position your car. You know, you're racing 2 inches from one another, going 200 miles an hour, and then the following week you go to a road course or a short track. Like you see different product on track every week, and you know, that's the same challenge for the drivers and the competitors is to kind of switch that mindset to what that is. And the style of racing we have that's that fast, that close, you know, 3-4 wide at Talladega is something you'll never see at any other racetrack.
Just going back to you, Joss, what can these fans, for coming into the Jacklings 500, what can they expect whenever they're coming in?
Well, I think Talladega has one of the best fan experiences on the circuit. I'm obviously a little partial to it, but from the campgrounds, whether you're camping out all week or just the weekend, or even if you're staying in the hotels nearby and coming over the racetrack, we're going to have a great weekend of action on the track. So we've got the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200, the ARCA race on Saturday afternoon, and then that'll be followed up with the Ag Pro 300, the NASCAR O'Reilly Series. So we've got a doubleheader on Saturday. Austin and the guys will be qualifying for the Cup Series on Saturday morning, and then everything winds up with the Jacklings 500 on Sunday. But in between all of that, there's a lot of things going on off the track for fans. We've got the big one on the boulevard, big parade through the infield on Friday night. We have our Saturday night traditional concert, so that's going to feature country music artist Kip Moore. He'll be playing a concert in the infield, so if you've got a ticket to Sunday's race or you're camping in the infield, you can come in for that. And then you got Talladega Garage Experience, one of the most immersive fan areas in the infield of a racetrack. You get to see the cars up close as they're getting kind of final preparation on Sunday before the Jacklings 500. Great place to sit and hang out and watch the race, or you can go up to the grandstands and watch and get some of those stellar views of that 2.66 mile track.
Perfect. We've heard that the Jacklings 500 is Talladega is such a unique track, such a crazy track. Like, what makes this track so unique and crazy?
Well, having never competed like Austin, from a fan perspective, it's the widest track that we race on, it's the longest track we race on, the highest bank track we race on. So you put all that together, it's high speed, it's high intensity, and then to me, just being at a track, being at a NASCAR event, it's hard to compare the sights, the sounds, the smells that you get being at a NASCAR event. Being in Talladega, you get great hospitality from our staff, from all the people that live in the surrounding areas that love having the race come into town. So to me, it's a mixture of those ingredients that make it such a special place.
And then coming from a driver's standpoint, like, what makes it so unique from you?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite literally the biggest track that we go to. Like, every time you come through the tunnel for the first time on the race weekend, you forget how massive of a facility it is, and to think that we cover that ground in just over 40 seconds. But I always love the graphics that come out of all the things that you can fit inside of like you can fit like the entire Vatican right inside of the infield at Talladega. It's like its own little city. It's definitely its own party. Like, talk about the fan experience. Like, even as a competitor, like, you can't help but have a smile on your face, like, going into race day, like, just knowing what's going on in the infield and all the fans. The fans really make it the event that it is more than anything else. Like, the track definitely facilitates it, but the fans take full advantage of the opportunities, whether if that's set on by the track or just bringing their own setup and having a great time. The campground there is like nothing else that we go to. So, I mean, even me, I'll be camping out there on Saturday night, and I definitely won't be going to bed early. Just because of the noise, right? I mean, there's so much going on, so you can't really avoid it. Even if you're not at the concert, you're at the concert. So, it's a fun place. But on the racetrack, it's as fast as it gets, and it's as wide open as you can be. So it's a ton of fun, and like I said before, there's nowhere else really like it.
Now, we've heard that there's going to be some changes coming to this track for this coming up race. It's been announced that some of the stage lengths are getting changed. Can you explain that in simple terms? Like, kind of what is that going to be for you? Like, what things are you going to have to change, think about whenever you used to have these stages and now they're going to be totally different?
Yeah, so the stage lengths, if you never watched a NASCAR Cup Series race, basically, our races are split up into 3 segments, kind of like a hockey game, but basically at the end of these stages, points are awarded to incentivize guys to run hard and reward you for running well throughout a race. So essentially, I think for most of our races, our final stage is our longest stage. NASCAR's kind of looked at the races and wanted to flip-flop that to make the first segment almost 100 laps, like 98 laps for the race at Talladega, and then the final 2 segments to be 45 laps. Just the way these races play out from a strategy standpoint, they want us running as flat out as we can be for the end of the race. That's at least the design by it, and it should be fun to see how the teams and as a competitor, how to take full advantage of what that strategy is going to look like, how it changes, how we race, and hopefully, no matter how it changes, I want that 2-car up front by the end of it.
And you mentioned about the final stage being changed. How crazy do you think that final stage is going to be now that it's so much different than what you were going from last year?
Yeah, I think at different times, I think with the way they have it now, the intensity will just continue to ramp up throughout the race. The urgency as a driver, as a competitor, to continue to find yourself at the front of the field. Early in the race, maybe chance to be a bit more lax. I got a ton of time to figure it out, and then by the end, as things start really ramping up, I would imagine that you might have a lot of impatience just trying to get to the front of the field. But for me, I want control of the race at all times, whether if that's at the front of the field with my teammates or just out by ourselves. So I think that's the best place to be to kind of control our destiny in the race.
And Josh, since this has changed, what do you think from a fan perspective and things like that? How is this going to make their experience different?
Yeah, I think NASCAR made the change in response a little bit to the fans. At the super speedways especially, we've seen strategy around fuel saving be a big part of it, because at the end of the day, the goal is to win the race, and I think our teams and our engineers and our crew chiefs have gotten very smart about knowing what they need to do to put themselves in position. But we also want to balance that, as Austin said, with running hard at the end of the race. And so I think that's what the goal of the strategy is from a fan perspective. I'll tell you, sitting up in the grandstands and watching these guys compete inches apart for 188 laps, it's hard to tell what they're really doing behind the wheel. So to me, it's always breathtaking and exciting to watch them race around Talladega Superspeedway, knowing the speeds they're running, how close they are, and at any moment something could change. So it's always got you on the edge of your seat. But I think our fans are going to be in for a treat. I think a little bit longer first stage, 98 laps. Then our final two stages will be just under a fuel run. So hopefully they'll get out there, compete hard, and we'll see who ends up in victory lane on Sunday.
So now for both of y'all, we'll be able to answer this one. What's going to make this race just a must-see race? Why do fans need to come to this race? Why is it fun for drivers and things like that?
I'll go first. Talladega is where I got my start as a fan, going to races there, and I've been fortunate to work there. So I think it's some of the best racing that we have, some of the most compelling. Like I said, the cars are inches apart for 500 miles, almost 200 laps around the track. It's something it's hard to turn away from. And then you add on how big the property is. It's easy in and out from a parking perspective for fans. You can come out. It's a big day-long tailgate leading into the start of the race. You can add a pre-race experience and come down and sign the start-finish line, see the guys get introduced right before they strap in. So to me, the full NASCAR experience at Talladega is what it's really about, and then we know it's going to be a great show on the track.
Yeah, I think any NASCAR race, I would encourage you to go in person, just because the sensory experience we were talking about earlier. The sensory experience is like nothing else. Where do you get to see that many cars that close together going that fast? It just doesn't really happen anywhere else. But compared to many other professional sports, I'm a football fan. I watch basketball, whatever else. You have, as a race fan, more access to the top athletes than any other professional sport, in my opinion. So I'll interact with race fans all weekend, whether if that's through doing things or just naturally, organically bump into a guy that has my hero card or autograph or just wants to take a selfie. It's just normal for us to have that experience with our race fans, and it's super cool to see the contrast to other sports. And that is really what makes us unique. But Talladega itself is a race, but it's also a party, and that's what's always fun to tell people about, whether if you're a race fan or not. You're going to have a good time there.
Well, do you have anything to say for our viewers here about coming to the Josh Links 500 coming up in a couple of weeks?
We're glad to be here. Thank you for having us. I would encourage everybody to check out our website. You can go to TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, find out all the information. Still got tickets available for the whole weekend. We'd love to have you come out and see us. And
when you do come out, root on the 2-car.
Yes, well, thank you all for watching, and excitement is building as the Jack Links 500 approaches, and this race will be the one to watch. Make sure to tune in on Sunday, April 26th at 3 p.m. You won't want to miss it. Reporting from Mocs News, sports editor, I'm Zoie Denton.